When we divide soprano voices, the labels can feel endless. Like lyric, coloratura, full lyric, spinto, dramatic, Wagnerian. But today I want to talk about a fascinating middle ground, the lyric dramatic soprano. This is the voice that combines lyric beauty with dramatic strength, a singer who can float a pianissimo high note and then moments later cut through a Puccini orchestra in full cry. We'll explore where this voice came from, why composers started writing for it, what characters it portrays, and how it gave rise to the modern idea of the diva. Let's start before Verdi and Puccini. In the 18th century and early 19th, the soprano's world was built on agility and elegance. Think of Mozart's Countess in Figaro, Donna Anna in Don Giovanni, or the heroines of Bellini and Donizetti. These roles demanded purity of line, legato, and dazzling agility. The orchestras were smaller. A theatre of 1,000 people with strings and a modest woodwind section didn't need a powerhouse soprano. The singer's task was to enchant, not to blast. But as romanticism grew, orchestras swelled in size. Brass and percussion became central. Harmony grew denser. Composers wanted more continuous drama, fewer pauses for applause. The soprano had to rise to meet this new sonic world. Verdi was the turning point. Take Leonora in Il Trovatore. In one act, she sings coloratura phrases as delicate as bel canto, and in the next, she is battling against chorus and orchestra in full cry. That dual demand, agility and power, is the essence of the lyric dramatic soprano. The same is true in La Forza del Destino. Leonora's great aria, Pace, pace, mio Dio, needs infinite tenderness, yet at the climax she must unleash a cry of anguish that pierces the whole house. Aida combines lyrical intimacy with sheer grandeur, especially in the triumphal scene. Desdemona in Otello embodies purity and fragility, yet must also sustain herself against Verdi's most overwhelming orchestration. Verdi wanted singers who could be both. He once complained that for Trovatore he needed not voices but canon, and yet he also wanted sweetness and line. That contradiction defines the fire. Puccini went even further. His operas are through composed, the orchestra is huge, and the vocal writing relentless. Tosca is a perfect example. She must move from playful charm in Act 1 to desperate pleading in Act 2, and then to soaring triumph in Vici d'arte, and finally to defiant outcry before her death. It is one of the most complete tests for a lyric dramatic soprano. Butterfly demands innocence and fragility in Act 1. Puccini even marks passages to be sung almost like a child. Yet in the final scene, the voice must summon tragic grandeur. Minnie in La Fanciulla del West faces some of Puccini's heaviest orchestration. A light lyric soprano would be drowned. A Wagnerian might sound too heavy and inflexible. It takes a lyric dramatic soprano with warmth, stamina, and steel. So who are these women? They are ready, coquettish ingénues. They are heroines under pressure, women torn between love and duty, or burdened by destiny. Leonora in Trovatore, Aida the enslaved princess, Tosca the singer caught in a web of politics, Butterfly abandoned by her lover, Santuzza betrayed and desperate. These are women of passion, nobility, and suffering. They command the stage not with girlish charm, but with presence, dignity, and emotional weight. And here is where the diva is born. Earlier heroines could be charming, witty, playful, but with Verdi and Puccini, the soprano often becomes the center of gravity. She may not run around the stage, she can stand still, open her mouth, and the theatre stops breathing. Audiences began to expect this larger-than-life soprano who could dominate both musically and dramatically. The diva was not just a singer, but an icon, a force of nature. But make no mistake, this fach is one of the hardest in opera. The singer must balance lyricism and drama, Push too far into weight and the tone hardens, the beauty is lost. Stay too light and you disappear in the orchestra. Stamina is crucial. These roles are long and relentless. Tosca rarely leaves the stage. Butterfly sings for hours with almost no rest. Register transitions must be seamless. Leonora's leaps in Il Trovatore demand both coloratura flexibility and powerful chest tones. Dynamic shading is constant. Pianissimo one moment, fortissimo the next. And always the risk. Many sopranos are burned out by taking these roles too early or too often. It takes careful technique and wise pacing. Let's look closer at Leonora. In Act 1, she sings delicate lines, almost bel canto in style, full of ornament and grace. But in Act 4, D'amor sull'ali rosé, she must sustain one of Verdi's most exquisite cantilenas before exploding into desperate cries of sacrifice. And then she has to soar above the ensemble in the Miserere, where Verdi pits her against chorus, tenor, and orchestra. It is a role that shows why the lyric dramatic soprano exists. No other voice type can do it all. Now let's talk about the great interpreters. Rosa Poncelle at the Met in the 1920s was hailed as the perfect Verdi soprano, velvet tone with steely power. Critics said she had a voice like velvet steel. Zinka Minanoff ruled the Verdi repertoire in the 1940s and 50s, bringing grandeur and control. Renata Tebaldi, with her golden tone, became the Puccini soprano par excellence. She embodied Tosca, Butterfly, and Minnie with warmth and majesty. Leontine Price brought radiant sound and noble bearing. Her Aida was legendary, described as the power of bronze and the delicacy of silk. Montserrat Caballé, astonished with her ability to float endless pianissimi and then unleash climaxes of blazing intensity. Maria Callas, of course, revolutionized Tosca. Her interpretation showed how a lyric dramatic soprano could combine incisive drama with vocal brilliance. She once said, "To sing Verdi, you need the soul of a lyric and the lungs of a dramatic." And in the later 20th century, Medela Freni showed how a lyric voice could grow into this repertoire, carefully, retaining beauty while adding weight. Today, singers like Sondra Radvanovsky continue the tradition, with voices that combine lyric clarity and dramatic strength. So the lyric dramatic soprano is more than a fach. She is a symbol of opera's evolution, from delicate elegance to full-blown spectacle. She embodies the paradox of opera itself, intimacy and grandeur, tenderness and power, beauty and steel. She gave us Leonora, Aida, Tosca, Butterfly. She gave us the diva, the soprano who can stand still and command the universe. And she remains one of the most demanding, most celebrated, and most unforgettable voices in the history of opera.